Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Gawkner, and this is Both Sides of the Aisle. I represent the political center and have on the political right, John Dougal.
Hey, great to be with you.
And on the political left, Shireen Gorbani.
Hello, and hi, listeners. So happy you're with us.
I have to say to both of you that I'm really fatigued about talking about President Trump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised. Really?
Yeah,
really?
Well, I think of this, public affairs program as being primarily about Utah. And yet, so much news comes out of the Beltway. It has such an imprint on Utahns that we keep talking about all these things.
Yeah.
It's called flooding the zone.
Flooding the zone. And lately, we have Trump accusing Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior, punishable by death.
Yeah.
This is 6 Democratic military veterans in Congress that he's going after, Shireen.
Yeah, so I think this is very concerning because actually just as we're recording, it sounds like what is now the Department of War, the Department of Defense, has also been called to investigate Senator Mark Kelly on this video. And what the video is saying is that members of the military are not required to follow unlawful guidance, unlawful asks.
Which is common knowledge. That's well stated. They're just repeating the obvious.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's concerning because on social media, Trump reposted a message that said, hang them, George Washington would. And I have to say, I think this is, of course, sort of just how I anticipate this president will act now. Mm-hmm. But I thought about Mike Pence being, calls for his hanging after or during the January 6th riot. And I'm really troubled by this kind of rhetoric out of this president.
Well, but you're not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
This is more of the same from him. I will go back. And while, those in the military are not to follow unlawful orders, my understanding is orders are assumed lawful. And so they have to be very careful and run it through the right chain of command to double check when they think they're illegal and they shouldn't follow that order. So they can't just on their own say, oh, I'm not going to follow it.
Right.
Going back to January 6th, I was troubled with Donald Trump back then. I called him seditious on that day. So, it takes one to know one, I guess. But be calling for the death of folks, this is beyond the pale.
Yes.
This is par for the course for Donald Trump. He likes to intimidate. He likes to belittle.
And bully.
And bully. So,
John,
and he gets rewarded for it.
We also have a federal judge ruling that Trump's deployment of the D.C. to combat crime or deter crime is unlawful. The judge is postponing the enforcement of her decision until December 11th so the Trump administration can appeal. I've spent a little bit of time in D.C. since he's had the National Guard troops on the ground. I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but the experience I've had is they look bored as can be. One of them I saw vaping just sitting outside a metro stop. Just like, what are we doing with these people's time?
Yeah.
You the same place, John?
Yeah. There's one of these things, I believe in local control and, federalism. And so sometimes local officials and local residents need to pay the price if their officials make poor choices.
Yeah.
And so this is where, I don't think it's the job of the federal government to write in anytime there's a crime concern, regardless of the city. Now, if we have something where somebody's trying to overthrow the government, that's a different matter. Mm-hmm. But just to clean up parks and clean up the streets and to be engaged in
municipal law enforcement.
Law enforcement? No, I don't think that's the job of the federal government.
Shireen, we also got news just this week that they've thrown out the case against Mr. Comey and Letitia James.
Yes. Yeah. And this is, again, really concerning. And I agree, unsurprising. This administration is willing to bend, break, or deny rules to enact retribution, right? But what I think is promising about this is it is an indication that our legal system is still working. And you cannot lie. They were caught in a lie. They did not provide the information that they should have provided.
Grand jury never saw the indictment.
The final indictment.
Straight up did not do what they were supposed to do. And it gets thrown out. And I think this is a win for justice. Again, an indicator that some things are still working.
Yeah. Well, we got the bill.
This is one of those things. If you truly think Comey was guilty, why did you cut the corner? Why did you not give the final indictment to the grand jury if you thought you had?
Yeah. Hey, we also got the bill signed to release the Epstein files. Are you optimistic, John? Are you optimistic, Shireen? What does optimism mean there? Meaning that like you're really going to get what the Congress
intended. It was interesting
intended.
to watch Congressman Thomas Massey, who's been taking a beating from President Trump, roll the president on this issue, at least on the vote. Because what did we have? One dissenting vote, so it was like everybody running in favor of this.
Yeah.
I mean, they were fighting it. Folks over multiple years.
All of the Utah delegation supported it,
and then
right?
essentially everybody's on board. Now, I have some skepticism about what the DOJ will release and what they won't release. I want to make sure that we're protecting the victims, but I have some fear that they will play games with what's actually being disclosed and selectively releasing it. I'll say for Shireen, selectively releasing about high-profile Democrats, but not necessarily high-profile Republicans, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think that's right. I have similar concerns, and I am. I think at the heart of this, right, is that I'm really distressed. I'm really bothered that it feels like we are delaying justice for victims so that folks in the Trump administration could protect pedophiles. And that is like horrific to me when we think about the kind of violence that was enacted on children in this case. And I also think that there is, I'm troubled. I'm glad that our representatives went ahead with this vote, but they did it after the president told them they could, right? And also after he said, well, we have a special investigation going. So I do agree with you, John. I think this will be a very limited release of information. And at the heart of it, I just keep thinking how many lives have just been destroyed by this kind of behavior.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, I sit there and I look. I mean, there's the Trump administration, but the Biden administration had it for years before that. And so it's like, okay, what's really in there? Either there's something in there, so just release it or prosecute folks, or there's nothing in it. So what is the concern? And come clean with it.
Do both of you have any trouble sleeping at night? Are you guys pretty good sleepers?
Oh, pretty good sleeper.
You're pretty
usually.
good. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm
As you
fine.
age, it gets harder.
Do you sleep like a baby where you wake up every 2 hours
darn well,
and then cry yourself back to sleep?
Pretty darn well. But if I wake up, sometimes I have trouble getting back to sleep. The reason I bring it up is I think of Pam Bondi.
Oh, wow.
What it must be
why?
like. Well,
Why?
what it must be like for her to sleep at night, because think at how high profile, the visibility, the media attention on everything she's done, and including as she deals with these files, the importance that she follow the law, and then to have a boss like President Trump who's, directing things that probably put her in conflict at times.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be difficult to sleep.
Yeah, you would think so. And then I would say also the brain drain, mass exodus of folks that are good Department of Justice employees that have either been fired or have left because they don't want to participate in the lawlessness of this administration.
CDC, new change on their website that's basically making it seem like it's a problem to be vaccinated. And this is dealing with autism and the MMR vaccine. Our data shows that, 24 studies have basically verified that there's no link between MMR vaccines and the onset of autism. And then also this telling stat that the CDC's own findings estimate that 94 million lives worldwide since 1974 have been spared because of vaccinations.
Yeah.
Well, and as I've described, lots of life is a series of trade-offs. And so you look for vaccinations. For the overwhelming majority of folks, there's a benefit. But for some, there's a detriment. And it's sometimes hard to know where the detriment is. And clearly, we're all troubled by the increase in autism. And some will say that's actually true, autism versus just it's the same as it's always been. We're just expanding what it means to be autistic and what meets the criteria to get additional assistance. But I think we're all concerned about, what is the impact of pollution on our health? What's the impact on, whatever we eat or what we drink and everything else like that. So, but at the end of the day, overwhelming, we benefit from vaccines. But we do have to be humble enough to recognize some people are harmed by it.
Yeah, I think what's clear here though is that there really is no link between there may be other health fallouts, but really that link between autism just isn't there in the data. And I think what's really troubling about this to me is that I fear that the legacy of this administration will be the measles deaths that we see in the coming years. I'm worried about, if a big state like Florida is really running towards this ideology. We've had some big outbreaks in Texas. We're starting to see numbers increase here in terms of measles cases. This is really concerning, and it can go really fast.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say that at least this has been going on for years, at least a decade or so. But some would say it's folks on the very left wing and the very right wing that are running down the same path of being anti-vax.
Now they're running our government.
One more quick national thing, and then we'll dive local.
Okay.
Department of Education. Feels like it's being dismantled at the federal level, John. And I'm not so troubled about taking aspects of the Department of Ed and putting it in other, federal agencies.
I thought we were getting rid of it instead of spreading it around.
Well, I'm okay as long as we keep taking care of Title I schools and, special needs, special education. There's just some things
when you say we, who do you mean by we?
Well,
we, the federal
government's
government?
played a
or
role
we?
there. Yeah,
Okay.
There's a standard that I think is okay for us to have as a country in public education, and as long as it's protected. But I know you feel differently. I know you'd like, you and I differ even in the local context, because I love public education, think it's done a lot for our state and for the promotion of, plural democracies. And you're like very local.
Very, very, very local, like local teachers, local parents collaborating together.
Yeah.
Too often, I see dynamics where at the state or federal level, we'll pretend like we're doing something when we're really just bogging down the system and can't let teachers meet the learning needs of students. I really would love to utterly disband the Federal Department of Education.
Didn't Reagan want to do it? I mean, it's been going on that long.
Well, yeah, he talked about it because Carter was the one that created the Department of Ed. Because I think we get too bureaucratic when it's at the federal level.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. We need to recognize that there are certain students that need extra needs and extra assistance, and states and localities need to step up and provide that assistance.
Shereen, last word on this one.
Yeah, I would just agree with you on that last point, right? I think for parents with kids with disabilities, they feel like we're in a national freefall and that there really isn't a safety net to catch them and ensure that their child has the same rights to education as kids who do not have disabilities.
Yeah. Take a short break. Natalie Gochner with John Dougal and Shereen Gorbani. Stay tuned, everyone. You're listening to Both Sides of the Aisle on UPR. We love to hear from listeners like you. If you would like to send us a comment, email bsotapodcast@gmail.com. That's bsotapodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Shereen Gorbani on the left.
John Dougal on the right.
Natalie Gochner in the Political Center, and this is Both Sides of the Aisle.
Now, I am asking listeners, if you, some of you, we do hear from you, and we really love hearing from you, but we are going to put a few episodes, John asked that I describe it as in the holiday tin for you.
Not in the can.
Not in the can. But if you have some topics that you would like us to tackle, or maybe some guests that you would like us to try to get, please email us at BSOTA, which is Both Sides of the Aisle, BSOTA podcast@gmail.com. And we get those and we read them. We love to shout you out. But if you've got some things you'd like to hear, please let us know. But jumping in, I'm going to kick us off.
We also like your fact checking.
We do love your fact checking. Thank you for doing it. And sometimes it's just fun. I don't know. It's just fun to hear from you. A report came out from the state. This is from the Office of the Legislative Auditor General, which is different than the state auditor.
That's correct.
This is the Auditor General who works for the legislature.
Super powerful office, and also an office that's very competent. Really, really great analysts in that office.
I actually think that's right. I would agree with that without hesitation. And they put out a list of top issues, high risk issues for the state. And they were looking at it through the lens of the population in the state, jumping from about 3.6 million now to 5.6 million is the projection by 2065. And that matches, Natalie, with what the Institute believes as well, right?
So 40 years, we go up 2 million folks.
So I feel like we're playing like Family Feud. But give me some of your guesses.
Should we do Pictionary?
I know. They have a list of 10, but I would just love to hear, as you're thinking about it, what are some things that you think are probably on that list?
Go ahead, John.
Housing.
Mm-hmm.
Great Salt Lake.
Interesting. Okay, keep going.
With that, I'd go broader, water. Not just Great Salt Lake, but water.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to go healthcare and an aging population and the needs of our 65 and older, which goes from 1 in 8 presently to 1 in 4 in 4 decades.
You want to take one or two more guesses, and then I'll tell you what they have on the list?
I was going to say transportation.
Yeah, got to have.
And I was also going to say electricity, power, utilities, those type of things.
Yeah, those are great. Okay, so you're going to hear many of these things repeated back to you. Number 1 on the list is Utah's water needs. The lake isn't specifically called out here, but it is in the report. Aging water infrastructure, education pathways to in-demand programs, insufficient behavioral health capacity.
Yeah, mental health.
planning effective transportation. I think you said that. Workforce shortages, improving housing, that came up in your list. And then a couple more that are on your list. Energy policy. Now, two that I thought were interesting, cybersecurity and data privacy. At number 9, and then number 10 on the list is federal revenue diversification. I really like this list. I hope that this becomes, I think in some ways it reflects the priorities that we see out of the legislature. But what I don't see on the top 10 list is like wokeness, right? Or, trans kids playing in sports. These are the real serious issues that I think are facing Utahns. And I know that we see a lot of focus on this, but I really hope heading into this legislative season that these are the priorities that we see.
Yeah, great points, Shireen. Let's do something else here. This new congressional district looks like that it's going to be there. It keeps getting attention. So
they're all new. Which new one?
Yeah, we're talking about the one that's mostly Salt Lake County. I don't know what number it would be but
CD1 on map 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, CD1. And in previous conversations, we've mentioned Senator Reeby and Ben McAdams, and now we've got Nate Bluin and Derek Kitchen.
Yes, former state senator.
Are there more coming, Shireen?
Yes, there will be.
Will you put your name on the list?
I definitely will not. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I'm very happy there.
But there'll be more.
There'll be more. There will be more. This is going to be a competitive district, and that means that there will be, I think, a really healthy debate, and there will be people who will come into the woodwork. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get an Abraham Lincoln impersonator, which I believe was in the last Senate race. Do you remember that?
Oh, he's been in multiple races. Yes,
I'm not sure we're going to get one of those, or maybe we'll get him. That'd be great. But I do expect to see a lot of
Bader
Democrats,
Ginsburg, maybe,
impersonator, standing up and running for this seat.
John, how do they figure out all the other seats? Which number they're in? Which number is Blake Moore's? Which number is Celeste Malloy's? Which number goes to some of our other ones?
Well, the map that the judge adopted. I mean, the numbers are just placed. So 1 is the Salt Lake City area. 2 is up north.
But the boundaries all change.
4 is kind of
they can live
west
wherever...
part, southwest part, and Tooele, and then 3 is kind of wrap around the east, and then down to St. George on the southwest corner.
But since it went from a donut, from a pizza to a donut hole,
so people are going to have to. Our existing congressional delegation is going to probably have discussions among themselves to figure out, who's running where. And who's running against each other and all those type of issues.
Even though you don't have to live in the district you represent, I kind of like the symmetry of that. I mean, it just makes sense to me. Has anyone looked at that? Like I think that Congressman Kennedy should run in the district that he's in. And then Celeste Malloy is down in Cedar City. Is she in a different district where she lives? I'd say that's where I want to be.
She'd be in CD3. So Kennedy and Congresswoman Malloy would both be in the new CD3.
So it's really the other two that have to fight it out.
I'd have to look where Congressman Owens lives, but he might also be in the new CD3. He doesn't currently, as I understand, live in his district. Blake Moore does not live in his district, so he's not in CD2. So,
Yeah. Shireen, what'd you make of when Lieutenant Governor Henderson started dealing with the boundaries that Judge Gibson selected, that some homes were cut in half and just some weird things took place?
Yeah.
I would just argue that would happen with any of these because of growth and changes, but what'd you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, basically what they're saying is there are a couple places where I think there's like an apartment complex in Huntsville that's cut in half, and one home in Sandy that's outside of. Anyway, I think that and the kind of response I would say in the reporting from the Trib was that these are things that can be accommodated. These can be easily addressed through census level data and precinct level data. I think that this is a process that's unfortunately had to go really quickly because the Utah legislature threw out the initial maps. And so here we are scrambling to get it right.
Tidy it up.
Well, and I would say that people, especially in the judge's opinion, seem to make it sound like it was cleaner than it actually has turned out to be. But if you go back, Suncrest, which is there in Draper on the hill, straddled the Utah-Salt Lake County line. So when I first got elected to the legislature, was in the process of getting elected, I can remember the clerks down there going, is this in your district or not? And we had homes that were split. And so back then it was, okay, wherever you spend the majority of your time, which was deemed your bedroom, wherever the majority of your bedroom was, that's where you vote. And so that was, and since then, in the legislature, we had changed the boundaries and allowed them to follow the roads up there and let the counties. But yes, this is not quite as clean as I think it was portrayed as.
It's complicated.
And then there was also, as I understand, the situation where the LG and the county clerks are used to getting the GIS information to draw their maps based on that. And for 10 days or so, they still did not have maps that they could actually use to draw their own maps.
Yeah. John, by the way, in population estimates, we use that same standard. They call it usual place of residence.
There you go.
And it's where you sleep most of the time. So you might have a home in St. George, but where do you sleep most of the time? That's where we count you.
So when you can't sleep at night, where do you hunt yourself?
All right, you two. The Olympic Organizing Committee announced the new name and branding mark for the 2034 games. They're calling it Utah 2034. Hope you guys have seen this. It's pretty cool.
I have not seen it until just
cool.
a moment ago when you were showing me a picture.
They put in a new, let's call it work of art, almost like
it's an installation. I think it's an art installation.
At the Salt Lake International Airport, Salt Lake City International Airport, in the canyon.
Utah International Airport?
Yeah, right as you come through the doorway, and it not only has the beautiful sort of text treatment, but it has a countdown clock. We're at 3,000 days.
So is it normal for example, do we have the Olympics California, the Olympics New York?
I'm hearing it's moving more towards that, but it is not normal from the past, right? It's the Atlanta Games, the LA Games,
Exactly.
the Salt Lake Games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Even what we're doing in February will be the Milano Cortina Games.
Yeah, I think this is really strange. And I was sort of surprised to see that the argument for doing it was inclusivity from Brad Wilson. While I feel like I wasn't here, but it did seem like people felt like they were a part of the Olympics if they lived in North Salt Lake or frankly St. George. People were excited. They felt like they were a part of it. I think that this is a bit of a slap in the face to Salt Lake City, and I think that it is understating the burden that a host city really does take on, the kind of planning and the investment that the city has made. But I also understand there'll be events in West Valley City, there'll be events in Park City.
We had events last time in Provo and Ogden and all sorts of places.
Yeah.
I would say all of those are part of the Greater Salt Lake Economic Region, Greater Salt Lake Metro area.
You don't want us to call them the greater part of Provo?
But I will say the capital city belongs to every Utahn.
Yeah.
And
whether you claim it or not.
Well, and I think the Olympic movement is claiming it because the default logo still has Salt Lake City on it. And also, let's be honest, it's where opening ceremony is, closing ceremony is, it's where the Olympic Village is, it's where the Medals Plaza is.
Yeah.
It's where
Natalie has the inside scoop here.
Well, it's where the International Airport is.
Yes.
It's this is something where we can all unify and come together. And I really liked in the installation, they have a star where the capital city is on that. And they also have a beautiful call out in blue of Great Salt Lake, which I think is terrific.
Hopefully we can keep it blue until then.
Yes. And the elevation level, I noticed this, a nerd, that the elevation level they show on the installation is a healthy lake. It's not the current elevation.
Let's go.
We've got a ways to go.
Stretch goal right there.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what else you guys want to talk about.
Let's do a quick round of our Thanksgiving traditions. Do you, and how do you gather with family? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm going to be at my in-laws' home. My father-in-law played in the Utah Symphony for 42 years, played the flute. It's a wonderful thing in the Gochner family to go spend time with our 90-plus-year-old grandfather. I'll have both my kids with me and my grandson. So
that's wonderful.
I'm excited for that.
Very cool. Being a grandparent's really fun, isn't it?
It's the best.
So we've done this a little bit of a tradition when our kids were younger, then we stopped doing it. And now that our grandson is 4, we're going to go back and we're going to have what we call baby turkeys, Cornish game hens.
Nice.
But what we did with our younger kids is we had them decorate their own and then share them with their siblings.
Yeah.
So they got to decorate their baby turkey, however, and cook it and then share it with their siblings. And so we're going to have 2 nieces plus my grandson. And so we're going to kick that off and see how that goes.
That's wonderful.
In the Gorbani home?
Well, so I typically host Friendsgiving on Thanksgiving. So for kind of anyone and everyone to come and gather. And the last couple of years, I think last year I had 31. And the year before that, it was pretty close to that. May have been 33.
Come on.
And These
are just friends of yours?
Friends, yeah. And I do a full...
Close friends. Because if you count her friends,
I got a lot.
Is your home that big?
Well, here's what's funny. I have this kind of big open area in my front... it's open on the main floor. And I put folding tables end to end to end. and we move out the furniture, and then you can stretch from the front window, basically. And my back is usually at the front window all the way to the back door. And we have gotten everyone in, but it is tight. But
Don't worry, it's going to be 57 this year, so it'll be nice and warm and balmy.
I would love to do it outside. But this year, I think just taking on new work responsibilities and for different reasons, I'm actually heading down to southern Utah. So I'll be in Boulder, Utah.
Oh, different.
And get to go to the meal at Hell's Backbone, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
I've wanted to go down for that meal many years, and this is the year that I'm doing it. So I'm excited and happy to be down there. But I also have to say I'll be missing just like the wild and rowdy Friendsgiving that usually happens at my house.
I'll be thinking of you. I've spent a lot of Thanksgivings in Bluff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a favorite of mine, and that's beautiful. You're going to have great food at that restaurant.
That's right. And I would just invite people. This is, a time of year I think we get really focused around giving. Consider linking up with a food donation or something like that if you can.
Yeah, something good.
And express gratitude.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, well, it's great spending time with you, John and Shireen. Natalie Gochner, this is Both Sides of the Aisle. The program's produced by Anthony Scoma. Thanks, everyone, for listening.